And I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And to the gentleman who sent me that note, I mean, he was I said, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't have an explanation, so. We begin the meeting by calling to order and opening comments, and the opening comments really is to welcome Karen Blake back. We have her nameplate, but more importantly is we have her back for now to recognize Karen. She was recognized at the very first meeting, but recognizing her right now amongst us. What a great person. What a great volunteer. What great support. And the things that you did while you were on the finance committee is, in my mind, it's something that's always going to be with me for the rest of my life. Because you actually you were one of the leaders to make changes in the finance committee and how we did things. I remember the good old boys days, first year you were on board. Even when I came on board, it was good old boys. And then things changed, and you were part of that change. And I am so thankful for you, for knowing you, for you being part of this committee. And as a token of appreciation, I don't know if you got a place for that or not, but.
Well, I mean, it's got to have a place. I mean, it asks for a place, and it's the key to the city.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's what this is? Wow.
In my mind,
I have to say that tell me where the door, I'm really not terribly clear about what it is what my contribution was. But all I can say is I really enjoyed serving with you guys and working with you, working sometimes against you, working with you, having good discussions. When I say working against you, you know what I mean. We engage in some conversations about different ways of looking at things. And if there's anything that I'm grateful for, is that you have allowed me to do that and still ask me back.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. You say you don't think you did a lot.
Mm.
You said undertone, you said passion, you said drive, you gave spirit, you gave a lot.
Immense knowledge.
And, it really was special to work by your side, to work with you, and to follow you,
Well, that's the thing about this community and the service that we can do. Imagine coming out of your homes and meeting the people next door, someone who lives next door to you, down the street, across the town, and then being able to sit down and accomplish something, know them, see their skills. I mean, that is really special. And there's a place that we can do that in our community, and it's called government. I mean, who would ever think that taking part in a municipal government would be what would be, I mean, not my idea of fun in my 20s, I'll tell you that. But, live and be grateful. Thank you.
Time went by fast. It went by really, really fast. So.
Well, I do thank you for that. I know you've got an agenda to follow tonight. And I thank you so much. This is really very, very sweet.
Thank you for coming.
So Karen, the symbolism is, hopefully you see, is there. You were key. You were key to the change. And
wow.
That's really what, when I'm looking at the different things, a little clock, a little plaque.
Yeah, how did you, what?
Can't put a fire on.
How many sessions did you have to do in order to get
I made executive
this
decision.
idea? You made an executive decision.
And quite candidly,
Yeah.
It does. And I don't think there's anyone who's going to say that's horrible. No one has.
No.
And so,
Well,
yeah.
I
We
don't know
have
what to
we
say.
have all
Just,
the container and everything for you to safely bring it back, and Angela can help you with that.
I have my own container.
But this actually has padding.
Oh,
and
it
stuff.
does?
Oh, yeah, the box it
Oh.
came in.
Where's the box?
It's right over on the other side of the table. I didn't want it to be in. up
Awesome.
front.
Okay, so then I can use that and my tablecloth to get out to the car.
Get out of here.
Yeah. That's all right. Do you have a quorum tonight?
We do. All we need is 5.
Yep.
And it's, can we read her in for a few minutes? No, I'm kidding. Raise your hand.
Right.
But, yeah, we do have a quorum right now.
Yeah.
And we have a soft agenda. As someone said, we don't even have anything really to vote on too much. We have decisions to make, but it's a pretty soft agenda. The big thing that happened yesterday was the adoption of the budget policy by the Board of Selectmen. I've read it. Actually, I think Andrew did a pretty good job expressing some of the stuff up front, in fact, of what our concerns have been relative to the school infrastructure and the OPEB. And in fact, Rosemary added an addendum to the budget policy that said, look, we're gonna hire anybody. I want us to figure out between, is it better to hire somebody with all the cost, put a factor on for the additional cost besides your salary, OPEB, for example,
Mhm.
or contract it out. They do that already. But what ended up happening was the promise that they would put in a net present value for a new employee, net present value of the cost of the OPEB immediately into the trust.
Ah,
So right away, that new employee is completely covered.
wow.
Where's that budgeted?
Will be in the 2020.
I see.
It'll be part of the trust budget. So when they hire a new person,
Each year, if they hire a new
Oh.
person, they will allocate money to go into the trust for that year that they're hired that covers
that person,
the outgoing expense.
net present value, it,
Well, now, there's a contribution.
isn't
That's
it?
Yes, that, it shows your eye is on the ball. You're making some quantitative judgments
Well,
about
yeah.
value, and you're putting the money in.
So you're
Pay
not,
as you go.
you're not adding to the problem.
Yep.
You just keeping that problem locked down right now, and then fixing that as we go. So,
One time or yearly?
no, it'd be a one-time. That's not the net present value of that contribution. Whatever it would be. It's not gonna be 50,000, but
But
you
it
put
has to be
in,
of
you could
their
put in
ongoing
$10,000 for a
retirement.
25-year-old, and that'll be figured out.
Yeah, Ed, don't drive down too far, it'll fall apart.
Hmm.
I
No, I'm literally doing it. I
just,
At least as far as I know right now, it's a fun
To do
time.
the net present value, you have to know what the future cost is.
Right.
They estimate.
Yeah, so they're gonna
So you-
estimate the future cost of
Yeah,
And
healthcare
that's
benefits.
It's an estimate.
Yeah,
You need to know,
hey, it's better than a sharp stick in the eye.
Tables, how long the person's gonna live,
Yeah.
and everything else, and,
Nice.
Based on average,
it's gonna work.
if there is one thing that I have in mind to do, and I may not, but I would like to bring up, and I'm not sure how I'll do it, I would like to have a charter change such that we disqualify anyone who is a town employee. That's police, fire, teachers are already in that category. No one who is a town employee can run for elective office in town. It's a conflict situation for me. When I say for me, I'm sensitive to conflicts of interest. I'm also sensitive to the need to have a full-time board member, and not someone who's recusing themselves every other second.
Are you gonna do that as a proposed warrant article?
I might,
Could,
and I might do it by petition, I'm not sure.
could you be more specific regarding what exactly they'd be excluded from? Because I think that there are a lot of people that work in town that are from town, and it may be unfair to exclude them from boards that aren't elected or things that they could, do. I don't want to persuade someone who is an active member of the community that also happens to work for the town not to volunteer or be a part of the community. Like, for
They can
example, being
volunteer.
part of the Fall Festival Committee may not be problematic,
That's not a problem.
But
So-
it's still,
So the
What it
one-
is,
the
it's
one
it's
person that maybe
elective
you-
office.
One person you might have in mind,
Yeah.
he volunteers for the Veterans Day Parade.
Yeah, but you just said it was for elected office.
It's
Yeah.
for elected office
That's
only.
pretty clear.
It's only for elected office where what you're doing,
you can't run
you
for
have to
selectman or-
recuse
And where you're
yourself.
voting on matters of importance to the town.
Well,
you know,
well,
because of-
right, your
yeah.
department's budget, to the extent that your department's budget
Right.
is increased, others, I mean,
Decrease,
here's the
yeah.
pie. And you have to split that pie up in so many ways. And if you don't recuse yourself from decisions about whether to increase your budget for your department, then what you're doing is you're putting yourself in a position of grabbing a larger piece of the pie than others. I'm probably not explaining it very
But
well.
there's conflict.
but don't you
And-
typically recuse yourself from that conflict?
Well, you
But you're
do,
recusing
but you
yourself
do.
so often
But
because-
here,
It
here's,
depends on what position you hold,
well, okay, so
right?
here.
I'm just asking, I'm not,
Yeah.
No. In Harpswell, Maine, town of 3,000, a dump employee ran for selectman. And he had to recuse himself so many times that what we had, a board of 3, turned into 2. And we had deadlocks, couldn't make decisions. And so every time any type of a salary issue came up,
Which is all the time.
which is all the time. When you think about what selectmen do, they're budgeting all the time. So I just,
Craft it.
so
Craft it.
anyway,
and
I'm just
if you
thinking of it.
want,
But,
share it with us
Yeah.
as your friends, and we'll do some feedback.
yeah,
I
oh, yeah,
mean,
fine.
this
And
dialogue-
Sasha, I'm interested in your view and reservations, because I really would like to be able to be fair and to explain it well. Thank you for listening to me.
thanks.
By the way, how do we reach you? Is your Comcast River Run whatever still work?
It does.
Okay.
It does. My 978-208-1270 still works,
Okay.
as far as I know. Hey,
It's not run on gas,
yeah,
is
we're
it?
going, no. If I ever get home tonight, yeah.
You
You
will.
need any help?
No, I'm good.
Stay healthy.
I will.
Yeah, you look
Thanks
great.
for coming,
Yeah.
Karen.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For your
Safe
trip
travels.
tomorrow.
All right.
Away from the.
I can't. That's right,
I'm passing
Are you
around
on,
the,
where do I go?
This sheet that has current information about you. Could you add your home address to it as well? And just make sure that everything else is valid.
Well, I'm not telling you people
Home
where I live.
address?
Okay, grab public
All right,
key,
your P.O. box.
connect.
And you stand with everyone?
The secret drop point where you can drop
Cancel.
the articles
Why am I
and
in?
documents to me. I'll
No,
give you the secret drop point.
Try,
We'll FedEx them to you.
Naps guest.
Oh, my goodness.
That plate's yours too,
Now
by the
open
way.
Google Chrome.
That is absolutely it.
There you go. That's really why I'm in this, is
What,
to get.
you need
Th- This is my tribute right
That's
there.
why I do
Ask them
this.
for Something, so close out. No, close out.
Wow.
Close out Chrome. And then open it up again and let it
You know what?
do what it's gotta do. Hold on. Don't touch anything.
When, you're on the board there at all?
I am an advisory.
Can I just go to Google?
Yeah, go ahead. It's not-
How does the union use a 70-acre former Navy fuel depot? And we are now having competing Navy town interests. A large part of our town has been fishing. And so they're lobster fishermen, and they dominate the board of selectmen. And of course, they want to put their lobster gear and track on that, and then there are a bunch of retirees who live along the shore, and they want recreation, and they don't want the lobster crapola, from the boats floating around in the water where they're swimming. So, it's a matter of,
It's a good problem to have.
yeah, so it's just community outreach, and
Good for
it's
you.
fun.
Keep yourself active.
She is kicking our butt. Alright,
Bye, Karen, thank you.
bye.
So, looking at the budget, I did pass it around. By the way, there was some issues with the,
Excuse me?
whatever correction you need to make.
I need the internet.
The budget policy was formalized last night, as I said earlier, at the Board of Selectmen's meeting. It was approved with the amendment that the cost of a new hire would be thrown into, the additional cost of a new hire would be thrown into the trust.
I didn't get to review any of the documents because I just got an email working, so.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any trouble reviewing the documents? No.
There were issues. I mean, Sasha, too, same thing. So, the big thing that might take away when I read this document was, it looked like, it's almost like to me it's the first paragraph, but there's some procedural things in the first paragraph. But they talk about financially. Town will continue to develop annual budgets that are structured, balanced, and continue to adhere to the board's financial reserve policies in order to retain the town's AAA bond rating. Priorities for the Board of Selectmen include developing a plan to address the OPEB liability. Also, the capital improvement plan will continue to be developed with a focus on reducing the risk of deferred maintenance and improving existing facilities while managing the impact that debt service can have in the operating budget. Specifically, in the FY20, the Board of Selectmen will support funding to develop the facilities master plan too, which will identify needed improvements to certain elementary schools, the Salem Street Fire Station, and possibly other facilities.
Are
So.
you discussing this, or you?
No, I'm just reading it. We should all read it because it is the town's budget policy. And there's current information in there.
I know, but I want to talk about it, and this is not on the agenda in this order, so when are we going to talk about this?
It is. Discuss the FY public comment.
Do we already do
7:15.
public comment recognition, what am I looking at? Never mind,
You're in
sorry.
school.
Yeah, I am, I was preparing for Thursday. Okay,
7:15, we're actually behind a
Sorry.
little bit.
we're good.
So, the question, since I'm not sure if anyone else has had a chance to read it, but you should, because it becomes the framework for our review of the budgets.
Well, I have an issue.
What's the issue?
That on the SIP budget submittal dated October 1st of 2018 by the school committee, it obviously says the agenda item is to approve the capital improvement and the budget, but if I look at the capital improvement submittal, there's nothing in here except a $50,000 cost under phase 2 for a consultant.
Yeah.
From what I know about consultants, nobody costs $50,000 to look at multitude of schools and needs for capital improvement. What I've seen from a few schools in my research is about a $200,000 cost. That's number one. And number two, there are no numbers besides the $50,000 on phase 2. So I guess, but yet the footnote on that same document, and I wish I could show
Atkinson,
this.
Franklin, and Kittredge renovations to be included as part of next facilities master plan phase 2.
Right, I
Funding
mean
source
next.
not yet determined.
Okay, so they say next facilities master plan phase 2, but it's already listed up here. So are they saying that this is incomplete and they can't complete this line item?
This is a proposal submitted to the town manager. So just so you know, it's not a budget, it's not that they haven't approved it. This is a-
Yeah.
I know it's capital, I know it's a SIP, but there's no numbers up there.
So, it's just, I think what Tim's saying is it's just a recommendation, which you knew, right? So, I would say that we should ask that, so we're gonna go over the calendar, and then when we do that, we're gonna decide what we, and who comes and presents and what we discuss when.
Got
And
it.
so this should be on the list of questions when we talk about the SIP budget, and specifically the SIP budget for schools.
So the question will go to the schools, not the town, to say, why did you present this recommendation for only $50,000 in FY20 when we know there's a substantially higher need? Is that the
Or
question?
what is the $50,000
For-
cover
cover.
for facilities, for a consultant for facilities master plan phase 2? Is it just an initial consulting fee for year 1 where they do, like, when they did the master plan, there was
Yeah.
a small fee
Like a
up
retainer
front,
up front,
and
yes.
then they did a certain scope, and then there was a larger scope after,
Okay.
and they just don't know what that is yet because they haven't done the initial
Okay.
part of the phase 2. I don't know the answer to that, so I think that's part of your question.
Without knowing
Okay.
the very specifics, I believe what's happening here is this is their own personal consultant to work with the facilities master plan 2, phase 2.
To-
That will be part of the overall town's budget. So I'm speculating, the buzzword they're speculating, that you will not get a 5-year here we're gonna tackle the Atkinson or Kittredge schools or any other school in their particular budget. It will be part of the overall town's master facility plan too. So you'll never see that level of information in this budget. Never has been in the past.
Okay, so this SIP is only for, like it says, North Andover School Department. What you're saying is Phase 2 will actually show up in the town.
So this
Bingo.
is their allocation of the consultant for the
Just
facilities
speaking of
master
that.
plan phase
So
two.
this
To then put other numbers in for the school, but showing up in the town.
What, no,
It will show up that way.
Well,
It'll be
basically,
a
there's
part
no
of it.
numbers here because they can't put in numbers because they don't know any numbers.
wait, I want to be, so just really clear so I understand what Tim, you're saying, or is that going forward, the facilities master plan phase 2 consultant, or are you talking about the actual facilities master plan dollars?
Oh, there's
'Cause-
two different animals.
Right,
Yeah.
Well, I know, so I just want to be clear,
No,
because
when
I think she
when-
was specifically talking about the consultant, right?
I'm talking about two things. Yeah, the consultant price being extremely low,
Mm-hmm.
and then secondly, there are no other numbers in here. I think you're addressing the second point. There are no other numbers in here because that's what the consultant's going to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I still have the question on the consultant,
Whether
which
it's-
is why I was
is it
going to go to
sufficient?
Thursday's meeting.
Is it sufficient enough?
Correct, based on
that's
what
a
I've
good
seen
question.
and across the board, so
Right.
the question.
Those are
okay.
two different questions.
Yeah.
Which I'd like to ask on Thursday. You're saying this is a recommendation. I guess my point is, when we do the calendaring, we would like to bring this up before this is solidified.
Yes.
So our timing is crucial.
It's a question that should be asked and just generate the thoughts process.
Okay, so I don't have to go Thursday. We'll just ask it here. Got it. Thank you.
I don't know what's happening.
She's trying to get the internet to show up on the screen to show everything that you sent. I might be able to throw the calendar up if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, but I want to be able to, I have it like all.
I know. I know.
That's as far as it's gonna go, Sasha.
He doesn't have the security key for the public.
Nope.
Do you wanna work from over there, Sasha?
Here you
Bring
go.
your cord?
I don't know if it's not, I've connected to the internet before, so I'm not sure why this is so problematic.
I know, unless they change the security system and codes.
They might have.
I know.
I
I
could
wonder
not
if I can-
hook, I could not hook into the NAPS internet.
Could, Angela, do you mind making a note and just asking Chris McClure tomorrow or for going forward, how we can best connect to the internet?
I couldn't connect on my phone.
Every single one is asking me for a security key.
Yeah. And mine is not. I'm in.
Under which one?
The public key that I tried to get you in on.
But it's asking for, wonder if you have the password from last.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's memorized somehow, but. Mhm. Bless you.
This is a problem.
Is everything that you have in the Google Docs area? So I
Yeah.
could go into our Google Docs and be you, your assistant tonight, right? I could cast it, you could just tell me what to do? I know. Sheet. Can you turn on the TV, please?
Do you think if I cast and take this plug out, it'll work?
You can try.
How
Do you
do
need
I-
wireless to cast?
What's our backup plan?
She's
Me.
casting right now.
Okay, what am I looking, am I in the FY19 folder, right?
Yep.
And what do you want me to open?
Okay. So
Is this just the on-off button?
you can turn it on, yeah, just the on button.
Yeah, I don't know which one it's gonna be.
Here.
I'll find out really soon. I might be casting on Gilligan's, computer. Nothing.
It's so odd. It's telling me I'm connected.
one more shot. There's 3 here, and none of them say conference room. Hold on.
It's not you. All right. Okay. So, are we done talking about, before we go to this, do you have anything else for the budget policy statement?
I'll just encourage everyone to read it, please.
I also thought it was really great under community development. I know we've been talking a lot about the schools, and that's been one of our specific items in our town warrant letter. I just want to point out on, under community development, there's a specific sentence that says, in FY20, the Board of Selectmen will support a budget which has sufficient funding to enable the North Andover Public Schools to stay on the trajectory for meeting the goals of the long-term strategic plan established by the school committee and superintendent. So I think that's really great. And there's also stuff about multifamily housing developments and some really other good stuff under community development. But I thought that was great, that everyone's interests are really aligned, and they made a specific note about it. Just wanted to point that out.
And I just want to point out that I went as a resident, not as FinCom, to them to ask for an adjustment on their statement. They excluded the schools in their policy statement,
Oh, good.
Thank you.
as a resident, for the record.
Okay.
Moving on. Any other topics, questions? No? Okay. I did the first pass of the policies and procedures. I put it into red line format. I'm not sure how that translates into Google Docs. And by the way, I promise I will stay out of Google Docs
Oh,
unless someone actually guides me, because I'm not very good at things. I just screw things up, so. But-
speaking.
So what we have printed out here is not your red line version?
No,
No,
he emailed
okay.
it.
I did email that though.
But when I can put that in Google Docs. I was locked out of my email until this morning, so I was gonna do some Google Docs last night and didn't have the chance. But there's also a folder Tim created, and we're gonna slide it into this FY19 folder.
Okay.
So going forward, the folder to look at always is the one you were invited to last year, and it's just FinCom. Because within the FinCom folder right there is
Yeah.
all of the previous
perfect.
years, so it's really easy to look back if you need to reference anything, especially when you're writing your section for the warrant letter.
Great.
So we'll go FinCom FY19, and we'll drag the rest of the stuff in there.
Thank you.
And then we can put this in here too.
So are we looking over these, refresh my memory, we're looking over these policies and procedures just as sort of
Yeah.
a couple year, every few years, we should take a look and see if everything's still working, if we need to add something, is that the?
Since I've been on board, there hasn't been anyone touching this stuff. So
Yep.
what I did do was I scanned, because it's not even a Word there's not even a document out there. That was a
Oh, really?
PDF. So I scanned it, so I didn't have to retype it. And in my red line version, I also highlighted a few key words that have been brought up over the last couple of years about our responsibilities to monitor the town's finances, may review any aspect of municipal finance, responsible for providing printed recommendations and detailed explanations in all financial articles, and any other finance-related warrant articles. There's pretty broad language already in this document. And, you know, we got into a lot of conversations over the last 3-4 years about that's not our purview, we can't get into that. This is pretty clear to me that there is a pretty, thank you. Thank you, Jen. And there is a pretty wide latitude provided us. Now, again, we don't create policy, but we can certainly opine and look at things and give advice advice, as well as consent on the articles.
So we can make recommendations.
My question is, and I unfortunately haven't had the opportunity to reference back, but how does that refer back to the charter? So that would take precedent over the policies and
Yeah.
procedures of the finance committee, so,
I just started this myself.
okay.
So I actually have in here in my notes, have to cross-reference the charter. The charter's got all different codifications now, so I have to actually go back in and figure out which ones apply. But one of the things that, working with Regina about our responsibilities of the Board of Selectmen and things, made it very clear to me that they don't have to formally meet with us. But they certainly want to listen to us, and we certainly will take our thoughts into consideration. So I did change that one paragraph that's implied that every year we meet with the board. That's not true. It's not a requirement. And so I said, my words are, an important role of the Finance Committee is effective communication and dialogue with the major budget stakeholders, most specifically the school superintendent, school committee, town manager, and board of selectmen. At the beginning of the budget cycle, the chair will appoint Finance Committee representatives to attend school committee and board of select meetings when budgets are discussed. The chair will also appoint 2 members of the Finance Committee to the annual revenue and fixed costs meetings held pursuant to the town charter and typically held late October, early November. As needed, the chair may also appoint representatives to other ad hoc committees as requested by other boards. This is our policy. It's not Tim's policy. So if people want to do some wordsmithing,
You know what I would
changing-
really love is if next year comments, you would write the reason for the change or the purpose of the change, and then it would make it much easier to understand why you made the change. Do you think you could add that to the notes?
Sure.
That'd be great.
So, yeah.
I just explained it, but I will add that to the note.
Yeah, could you please, so I can review it later?
So I think my 2 comments on this would be specifically mentioning the town manager as a budget stakeholder, although I think he's, excellent, and he's not an elected official, so I don't know that we want to list him specifically in here.
I do.
Okay, and then the other portion of this is, if we're changing our policies and procedures, has it historically, refresh my memory, been a chair appointment to have people attend other meetings? Or is it just a discussion and people volunteer kind of situation? I think we don't want to get into a position where we forget 3 years from now, or some of us aren't here, and this is in a document, and then people think it's a requirement, or it's something that's.
That's a good point. Absolutely can soften the language. I mean, I'm not going to say to Ed, you were appointed to the school committee meeting this year. What happened? I go, well, I don't know. And I don't want to hold anyone accountable. I mean, I do want people to say, I'm going to go. By the way, Tim, a week later, I got something come up. I can't go. I'll jump in. But it's important, I think, to try hard to maintain that dialogue. And so frequent attendance of meetings with the school committee, maybe a meeting, ad hoc meet, or a meeting with the superintendent on your own. It doesn't really matter, just so you can get some a dialogue and understanding of what's going on and feedback to us.
Yeah, no, I think there's huge value in doing it. I just don't know if
This makes it sound
I-
mandatory.
Right. I'm just trying to
How about
find out.
this? The chair will appoint willing finance committee representatives.
Or we'll vote on the. I'm just trying to, just think about it in all different ways. And then also, we'd have to look at all of this and see how it jives with the charter, right?
The chair may appoint. As opposed to will, because then it becomes a discretionary thing, which is that one word.
You have the right to say no.
Yeah. I mean, we all have a right to say no.
We
Yeah.
appoint volunteers for the finance committee.
Or, no, may appoint volunteers to serve on, to attend other board
Their
meetings.
attendance.
And we've always, I mean, as far as the Revenue and Fixed Cost Committee, we've always had somebody on that. That's part of
That
the,
is mandatory.
yeah, that's mandatory. So we need to separate that from, the
So
fixed
chair
revenue and
will
fixed, they
appoint.
will for the revenue and may.
Not also, so
For other,
will
yeah.
appoint though.
And is it the chair who always appoints, or is it a vote?
The chair.
The chair, yeah. People volunteer, and then the chair appoints. And if nobody volunteers, the chair appoints.
No, that's the beauty of-
Usually we get somebody
it's the
to
beauty
jump
of
up and.
conversation, dialogue. Can you make this one? You horse trade. I'm fine with that. Other than that, it's pretty much, the rest of it was cosmetics that I did. And then the big thing is Sasha pointed out, is cross-referencing back to the charter. The last thing I want to do with this document, clearly we're not going to pass or bless it today. The last thing I want to do once we get to a point with all the proper cross-references is consider giving it to our legal people, legal person. Susan, thank you, to just pass through so that, am I doing something, are we doing something that crosses boundaries we shouldn't? And then we will vote on it after we get that opinion.
One thing I also wanted to comment on, and I, again, like I mentioned, haven't had the opportunity to look at the charter, but if you look at section 3G, so rules of procedure and voting, members of the Finance Committee agreed to hold initial discussions on an issue at one meeting and then postpone final discussions and voting on that issue until the next meeting. That's not something we regularly.
Done.
So we need to, I think we should find out if that's specific in the charter, and if not, amend that language so that it is reflective of what we're actually doing.
One of the things that, there is a sentence in there that says, unless the committee agrees to not.
Majority vote to break the rule.
Right.
So, but we're definitely not doing,
We're not even doing that.
yeah. So just to make sure that if we're gonna go through the exercise of reviewing this, we should do it so that it matches what we're actually practicing.
Because that is the
We
practice.
should just have a template for our first meeting of each year.
Sorry?
We should have a template for the agenda for our first meeting each year. You know what I mean? The things that we need to do in the first meeting. So every year, that's our agenda for
Okay.
how are you gonna remember that otherwise? I don't.
I just wanted to point out that I know the school committee and the board of selectmen do exactly that. They generally, they discuss it, then he can actually look at their next agenda items that says consent of the last thing we talked about, at the last meeting. So, I hear you. So.
The other thing is section H, adequate time may vary. So, again, sorry, 3H. Specifically, it says adequate time may vary depending on the articles that we're approving, but in no case shall there be less than 2 finance committee meetings prior to town meeting. So I think we should be cognizant of that when we do the schedule. So I'll reread the beginning. The finance committee will not issue any recommendation.
Where
for
are you looking at? I'm
This
sorry.
is,
It's up here.
3H
It's line 23.
in the markup, so it's, if you're looking in the non-markup, it's G.
G.
So
Okay.
3 rules of procedure and voting. H.
I can't tell you what page.
The finance committee will not issue any recommendation for any article involving expenditure of town funds unless all requested and relevant information is provided to the finance committee in advance of town meeting with adequate time for consideration of the articles. Adequate time may vary depending on the article, but in no case shall be less than 2 finance committee meetings prior to town meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Allow for at least one meeting to discuss the article and another to vote, which goes back to the previous section we discussed.
Are you suggesting a change there? I'm confused.
No, I'm
That's
pointing out that that's what it
that's
says,
been what
and
it says.
so
We have to have our
We-
schedule aligned.
we
so
have to
that we
align
can
our
accomplish
schedules
that.
so that we can.
Yeah.
I didn't know the
So if we're gonna
Yeah.
decide,
Yeah.
we either change it or we keep it, and if we keep it, then we need to have a meeting after a informational meeting to have a consent vote. That's all.
So those are ideas right now. Please take a look at it and provide more input.
Yeah, on that point too, though, Sasha, remember, we also always have a meeting right before town meeting. And
So
then
that
we
would
adjourn.
count.
Yeah.
But we'd have to, if we were voting on anything specific and we needed it in the warrant book before that, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
We'd
yeah.
have-
of
would that be
course, yeah.
problematic?
No,
It's
you're
gotta
right.
be,
Yeah.
it's gotta meet the deadline of when.
Right.
Yeah.
But we
Basically,
can
when our letter
think
goes
about
in.
that, right,
Yeah.
while we go through, I guess. But if there was any last minute stuff, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Any other discussions, other than we'll figure out next meeting, work on this one more time, and then we'll polish it from there. Maybe even try to polish it live, and then get it to Susan for her review.
Does she know we're looking at this? Should we?
I'll send a note to her. I'm sure it's nothing she's gonna be waiting for.
I'm sure you're right.
Do we want to go over the schedule first, or do we want to talk about appointments? And to me, the most important one is the Revenue and Fixed Costs Review Committee. We need 2 people on that committee. It is a very eye-opening, educational, worthy venture. It is held, they start at 9 or 8. Liz, do you recall?
Usually 9 a.m.
9.
Yeah, it's an early morning meeting.
It's an early
Yeah.
morning, and it's done within an hour.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Much, and,
Generally, we would meet twice, sometimes, last year we had to meet 3 times because there was some delay in getting
right.
some numbers in.
But Lynn is on top of this stuff.
Yeah.
And she sends you material ahead of time. And, you know, it's basically looking for abnormalities in the forecast relative to what we've seen in the past and what they're projecting for 2020 and even further out, since they actually do present further out years kind of thing for revenue forecast. The debt part, that's the reason we didn't have the insurance information last year in time. So the fixed cost is nothing you can do about it kind of cost. And again, it's a piece of important information. So that's basically the revenue part. That's where our budget's gonna fit into, and take away part of that budget for the fixed cost. I mean, it's that simple. But it gets into all the details, permits, construction, motor vehicle excise taxes, the real estate property, what they project to have new new property coming on board, so that it's just not the 2.5% you're getting, but the property insurance, property tax on the new property coming in. So it's good stuff, and they're doing some predictions, and that's what our budget is formed on. So the question is, do we have a couple people who will be interested in that? You can probably much guarantee it's only going to be 2. Might be 3, but 2 for sure.
Do we know what week that is?
It'll be the week of, I believe, maybe the week of the 5th and the 12th. It won't be on a Friday,
Did you say December, not November?
November.
Okay.
Are you available Mondays? Is that I know what's going through your head, so I'm
No, I can't.
sidebar coordinating.
I've got a meeting, I'm trying to figure out when it's November. It's November 5th through 8th. I'm in California.
So, Divya, do you have time at all?
I need some time to think. Most likely, yes, but I can't say right now.
I'm going to need to know answers by tomorrow. So people have to take a look at their
We
schedule.
need 2 people.
Yep.
I'm not available. I'm in Boston for 4 days presenting.
I'm happy to do it if we need it.
Okay,
Yeah,
Sasha?
I can do it again, if you want me to do it again.
And also, I'm always there as a backup for people.
Did you go to Chuck, Tom, and Chris Allen and ask them?
No, I'm not talking to people right here who want commitments. So,
Maybe
Sasha,
make a-
Liz?
Yeah, I can definitely, I can do it that first week in November. I have to travel to Tampa, but I'll be back during the week, so.
So what happens is, all I'm looking for is 2 people, and I'll be your backup in case that can't happen.
Okay.
So I have you both, okay. Sorry, Divya, just wanted to make a
That's
decision
absolutely
today.
fair, yeah.
So Sasha?
I don't have my calendar in front of me.
Okay,
so
cool.
I
We can send dates to Lynn.
Yeah,
The
Great.
OPEB committee is gonna be 2, couple of
Chuck and
them.
me.
Yep.
And you're my backup.
So I'm your backup, and Chuck as well. Nice thing is, it's gonna be over with before the end of the year, at least your initial phase of it.
Yes.
That's what I was told.
Yep.
So I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for some of the results coming out of it, and I'm excited. So some good stuff coming out of there. School committee,
Can we wait on that? Because can we table that for schedule? Because I have all of the meetings that we would want members to attend in the schedule.
Like, I was gonna already start going this Thursday, but now that I know we'll cover it in here, I'm not going, because
Well,
there's
let's-
nothing pivotal on that
so we'll
agenda,
wait to
so.
get the calendar up.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
put like the key school committee
Yep.
dates and our dates so we can fill in our meetings
Yep.
around it and figure everything out.
Yep. Sounds
I'm
good.
not so urgent right now. We can talk about this next week, because I still haven't really rolled up my sleeves to look at the warrant letter. And I want to work with you, Sasha, to get some ideas about cutting it from the 200-page document down to something that people will actually read.
Couple pages.
Yep.
Got it.
I mean, again, one of the things that Karen participated in was the joke page and a quarter document that was held, that we had my first year. And it was, in my mind, a joke. I'm sorry, guys, that used to be on that committee, but it was a joke. And we actually had a fight over it. So it was an interesting exercise. And so when the old guard went, it really maybe took off too much. The pendulum swung the other way, but at least it swung at least in the right direction. But I'll do this. I'll work on this for the next meeting, and I'll actually carve out some structure with Sasha's help relative to what it really should look like, and that would give people some substance to what to work with.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear, I would love to hear at least what you guys think too.
Yeah.
Because you've been part of that process for the last couple of years.
Do you want to take over on the?
Yeah, Jen, I need your computer assistant.
Temple of Calendar of
Yes,
Meetings.
please. This is
that the
perfect.
one?
It's like a good transition. You're the master of Google.
Did you get a chance to look at that?
I haven't yet. We were in the urgent care until my son's group.
Oh, no.
We were up all night. So we were in urgent care until like 8:45 last night, and then, I'll look at it tonight or tomorrow when I'm home with him.
Trying to cast it. Just give me a sec.
I did read it though. I just have to.
I don't want you to spend a lot of time.
No.
You go for it.
Okay.
If it's a grammar thing, that makes me look like a fool, yeah, but otherwise, so.
Okay, so I took Jen's format, which is awesome. So we can cross-reference the 2017-2018 calendar, and then I made the 2018-2019, and I color-coded it by finance committee meeting, if there's another board or committee meeting, deadlines or dates to note, and then items we need to discuss and decide upon, which as we go, we'll color-code those, like if we decide to add that to the format. So topic, invitees or attendees, which would be if we're going to another meeting, who's going to go, who's volunteering, and then I haven't had the opportunity to link everything, but we can do that as documents come up and whatever else.
What was your basis, and I'm only
Yeah.
saying this for information purposes, when you put this thing together, what was your basis where all the different calendar dates, probably all?
I took Lynn's budget calendar, so the FY20 budget calendar. Every date from here is on this document, so you don't have to have both, so it's all in one. And then I went through this. There's also specific dates for the Board of Selectmen and the school committee, so those are on there. And so when it was a meeting, I highlighted it a different color than a deadline, so that we knew if we wanted to attend, have a member or two attend, because it's an important meeting, then it's in our calendar, and they're responsible for attending that meeting.
Say before a deadline.
Exactly, and have our thoughts heard. So
Yep.
I didn't put in dates for our meetings, because
Yep.
I wanted to do that together and also figure out who we want to present to us this year, when we want them to present based on the entire budget calendar as a whole, and what we think is most important. Because, and I haven't discussed this with Tim, but my thought, because we're all incredibly busy, is the least amount of meetings and the highest level of efficiency and effectiveness is probably what we want to achieve. So,
Yeah, and you know what, there's no reason why we can't also submit, if anyone has the energy, written questions, if we don't have people present here to do their presentations on budgets, so we can submit written questions, like, we really don't want, we just had a few questions for you, so you don't need to come here, but we'd like to have the
I
answers.
think I think people would really appreciate that, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to spend a night away from
Home,
their family and miss dinner, and they can,
yep. There are some, such as the school budget, I want to see
Of course.
faces and stuff like that, but.
Okay, so we had Tim, I don't know if anyone else from the committee attended last night's meeting, the Board of Selectmen meeting, but I put Tim in there because he was there. Today, we reviewed the budget policy statement, the rest of the stuff that was on our schedule. So the November meeting. So this is kind of what, if you guys want to read kind of what goes on after, but my thought was, what do we want to achieve in a November meeting? Last year, if you look at the 2017-2018 budget, if you want to toggle to it, Jen, you can see that we had Jim Mealy come in and present. I don't know if it was helpful to have him present so early.
That's the October 17th one?
Yep, right there.
Yeah. And then we spent November talking about Osgood, because remember we had special town meeting last year, and that took up a lot of our fall.
How about for the November one, looking at both you and Liz, maybe a summary, a meeting summarizing what the revenue and fixed cost looks like?
So if you look, so I thought about that. So if you actually go down to January, it typically, because we need to finalize it. So
Yeah.
it's actually not until no later than December 21st that we issue the final report.
Good point.
So my
Yeah,
thought
it's
was
too
we
early in
skip,
November.
my thought was we skip a December meeting because of the holidays and things were crazy. Figure out what we want to achieve in the November meeting and then hit January probably twice.
So for the November meeting, could we, the thoughts here, folks, try to, again, work on the next version of the revenue policy, the finance committee policy and procedures, the warrant letter?
We can't touch the warrant letter until we have numbers.
No, what we're doing with the warrant letter is actually.
We can assign that. You know what, we know who's gonna probably write this section, so he just needs to come up with the pairing.
What we do is we also want to do is a structure change on it to make it a different document.
Well, and I think if we're gonna talk about the policies and procedures, we need a commitment from the committee that everyone's actually gonna read and review the policies and procedures and the relevant charter, sections of the charter, or else it's not an effective meeting and there's no point. So we kinda need that commitment.
And everybody's present.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we need to have better showing here for.
So if, so perfect. So you wanna take school presentation out then?
I don't wanna take it out,
Okay, talk to me about it.
because I wanna hear what they have to say. I guess my point is, or we can just go to a school meeting, which I'm not keen on doing.
So if
Because-
you scroll down, because I think that there's ample opportunity to have a really good meeting and give us time to ask questions.
When?
Because they just don't have all of their stuff done yet, right? So it's the same thing we heard from Amy.
Right, so there's no carryover from last year of things done that they just haven't presented yet. They really don't have it done.
That's my assumption, right? Because they're not ready.
We don't wanna light a little, okay.
No,
Nope, January 8th is fine.
doesn't have to be January 8th.
Nope, I'm in agreement.
Does that make sense? Just because I looked through it.
Very disappointing.
With what?
Nothing. We're good. So we do warrant structure, policy procedures.
And where, so tell me, because now we're talking about it, if the school is gonna come, what would you want them to present? What would you want them to discuss?
No, I think you're correct. I don't think they'd have anything new prepared from last year, the end of the year's presentation.
Okay. And I think that's same from the municipal side right now, given especially all the stuff that's going on with Columbia Gas. I'm not sure it's appropriate yet to, okay. So we'll do warrant structure changes, policy and procedures.
I didn't look at the email that was sent yesterday by Chris. Is there anything from OPEB that?
No meetings scheduled yet. There won't be through, we probably won't have anything to talk about until either December or January.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Okay, so the next one is Monday, December 3rd. It's the Board of Selectmen meeting. The town manager is presenting the 5-year SIP. So I think it would be appropriate to have 1 or 2 people from the finance committee attending. Does anyone want to?
Yeah, I can attend that.
Yeah?
And I'll attend it as well.
Great.
By the way, they do appreciate it.
Okay. December, this is what we did last year. So,
I just have one thing going back to the capital improvement plan. Whoever's going to write that part of the warrant letter might want to be the person that attends to really dig down. Who does that part, the SIP? Is that Thomas?
You know what? We may be trying to shuffle things around, and I know you're the reserve
Yeah.
guru, but maybe
No,
you mentor somebody else that on it this year. I was thinking about just that topic, and Thomas has done the capital one.
I know it gets to the point where it's yeah.
But that's
You need a
okay,
fresh
can
set of
also
eyes.
attend. There's no limit to two
We can also talk about that too at the next meeting
Yeah.
when we assign structure.
just less than, we just can't have quorum. right?
Pardon?
How many people can attend without having to,
No more than 4.
Right.
Yeah.
so,
That's fine.
so we're okay.
Yeah.
So December of last year, we had, the economic development director, we had the town manager present the operating budget, and we had, so we had
They
double.
hired the economic development director yet?
Yes.
Do you think
I
he'll be
think.
ready by December? I'd like to think he'll have something to say, or at least we'll meet.
I think it's,
Oh, I
I
apologize.
think, I don't know, I don't remember.
Replacing Eric?
He's been fired.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good question to ask of,
I don't want to, I
I-
don't
I
think
like
we
that.
ask. I like meeting them when they're new.
I do too, and I think that's I'll work with Andrew on that, getting Andrew to, also to the new system manager, town manager, have them both come, introduce
oh,
themselves,
maybe it's the new town.
and that might be a good time to do it, so.
Okay. The
Sorry.
revenue and fixed cost committee final report review is listed twice in December and January. I just wasn't sure when we wanted to do it. It really depends on when that meeting.
Yeah, last year the goal was, as I recall, was to do it in December, but we had to push it out because of that issue with the debt stuff.
Right.
So it's just as long as the December meeting's after the deadline of no later than what, December 22nd, I think is,
Yeah, I think that's the date they,
or 21st.
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 So maybe it is a January meeting that it
Yeah,
should
because
be.
that's awfully late. Yeah,
So why don't we take that out of, December?
Yeah.
Well, you already have it here on the 8th.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So take it out of
yeah.
December.
Oh, got it,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Love this.
All right.
On the 5-year operating budget, that's assuming that he presents that as well on the 3rd? Or when does Andrew?
Well, listen, we're gonna have to be flexible with what's going on in the
We-
town, I mean.
We also, where are we learning about the SIP? So is Andrew presenting the operating budget and SIP? We don't have a SIP meeting. See?
No,
Yeah, we do right here.
I mean, it's further down, right?
Review, it's January 8th, and it's
So
not right.
Why are we doing, is that backwards? Doesn't it come out first?
No.
You-
Yeah, wait a
See
minute.
what I'm saying? So I just took what was last year, so let's scroll over and
Hold
we
on.
can see. The
Hold on.
deadlines are in there. They're,
Yeah, recommended SIP issued to Selectmen December 17th.
it's on this document, if you scroll over.
I thought you
just
said this
go
was
back.
wrong. I'm sorry, okay.
So if,
When does he present the 5-year operating budget?
it was in
It's actually-
December.
We're given the SIP on the December 18th. We come back from vacation and then we review it for the first time. Your concern is the budget, though, you're saying, the 5-year?
The 5-year.
So
operating
see
budget.
how in the December FinCom meeting, it says town manager presents 5-year operating budget.
Right, because
But
on
then in
December 30
January-
presents it, yeah.
Is that when he presents it?
It says right here on her thing,
No, that's the capital improvement plan,
No.
right?
sorry.
Go up to
I don't mean to
120.
correct you, but on December 3rd, according to this, it's
I can't see it.
misstated.
I can't see.
Okay, and it could have very
It
well.
shouldn't be in the SIP. This should not say the SIP. I'm gonna put exactly what it says in here, okay?
Yeah, no, please, if that's what it is. Let's see, did I screw it up?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
makes
okay,
sense.
that makes much more sense. So it's
Okay.
a 5-year forecast.
I just don't know, it doesn't say on this piece of paper to the selectmen and forwards to FinCom, but I believe that what you wrote is correct, though. Because I asked this last year, I'm like, it says town manager presents the 5-year forecast, but it doesn't say to whom.
It's just like.
It's gotta be the selectmen. Okay, okay, so we got
No.
that right.
No.
I didn't bring my schedule.
Okay, but
right
here, if you flip it to the other side, the operating. Okay, so the town manager presents the 5-year financial forecast on
On
December
December
3rd.
Okay.
Then it's SIP,
Yep.
then departmental operating budget requests that aren't submitted until January 15th.
Yes.
So we're not going over
Any budget.
the operating budget until February.
Yeah, that's really not the 5-year operating budget.
That's a
It's the
5-year forecast.
Yeah,
So-
you
so
have that
that's
in
just-
parens, yeah.
So that's the 5-year forecast. So we want to go
Yeah.
to that meeting,
change it,
right?
yeah.
Then it's
We don't have him at the December FinCom presenting the 5-year operating budget.
It's the 5-year forecast.
It's the
Five-year
5-year
forecast,
forecast. So if
yeah.
you just want to take
Operating budget.
operating budget out and just 5-year forecast.
Yeah.
But it is not
It's
SIP.
5-year
The
twice.
5-year forecast
No,
is
it's different,
operating.
yeah.
No, it's the.
It's not
It's
SIP.
the revenue
Yeah.
and expenses.
Yep.
That's all.
It says 5-year
Bar
twice. So you
graphs.
just,
Mm-hmm.
thank you, sorry.
And on the December FinCom, this is review town economic development. We definitely want to meet with the new economic director as well as the new assistant town manager.
Because that's part of the revenue generation of the 5-year forecast. That's, I think, why we did it like that last year.
Yep.
Okay, now it's SIP. This is a lot.
Who was the economic director replacing?
Eric, I'm not sure that you have.
It's not up yet. Jean Enright is the, according to the
I-
website.
oh, I
It
would,
was
She's
Eric.
acting in temporarily.
I thought they had announced it, so maybe I'm thinking about the assistant town manager.
Assistant town manager.
Yeah, I'm wrong though. I don't know.
So hopefully that's done.
Yeah, if not, I
Were
mean,
you asking
Jean's
who
been
was it
working for the town for a long
replacing
time.
Yeah, is that
Eric
new?
Coffrey?
It is Eric, okay. Is he still with the town or is he gone?
I don't think so.
He's gone.
He was short. I think he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Okay, so then we have the January meeting where we review.
Do we want to set any dates?
Yes, I think we should do this, make sure we have it all settled, and then we can go through the dates, I think, right?
Okay.
So then Tuesday, January 8th, we'll report on, do you want to put Liz and Sasha under members? Lynn and Andrew came last year to do the SIP. And then, sorry, we skipped superintendent submits budget to school committee Thursday, January 3rd. I'm assuming Jen, I would like to attend probably, and I'm assuming Chris, I would put Chris in a question mark. I don't know if anyone else wants to come too.
Jen and Chris?
And I'm happy to go too.
Okay.
I'll be the extra.
Schedule.
So then January 8th, we review and discuss the school budget.
So we're not meeting with the, got it, never mind. Okay, got it.
If you keep going down,
Mm-hmm.
does anyone want to go when the Board of Selectmen votes on the SIP, or do we want to wait? Do we need anyone to go to that?
You can put my name down tentatively, just as a face. And the logic there is,
At that point, it's already baked.
yeah, exactly, Jen.
Yeah. So, I think that this second, I said, can we consolidate? I think we need a second January meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a school presentation.
We're reviewing the SIP after it's been approved or adopted by the Board of Selectmen?
No, this is from last year. So
Yeah,
all
yeah.
those notes are from last year. So no, we would have
Okay.
already had the presentation on the SIP.
Okay,
And then medical MMOD is deleted.
Yep.
And then I would say we, presentation from,
this is when we'd have them come.
yeah, from,
Gilligan.
Dr. Gilligan and Jim.
Okay,
I would say presentation.
Yeah, school budget presentation.
Thank you.
Right, because the SIP on January 8th is going to include the master plan 2 facility stuff. Is that what you were saying? We don't have to have a separate meeting to review the capital improvement plan for the schools, because that'll be included in the capital improvement plan
Yes.
for the town.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then, let's see.
Number C, I love how this works, it's crazy.
So we want to make sure whatever that date is, it's before the 24th. So we can have questions prepared.
Yep.
So attending, who? And whoever else wants to come. And then I'm not sure if we need to be there when they vote unless there's.
We've already said, we've had them
Yeah.
present, we've gone to their meeting,
Put me
it's
down-
baked.
Put me down on the 31st.
You wanna go on the finals?
Yeah, and here's my logic. So we make some interesting input. And it's good input, or just like quality wise, it's good input. And it comes up to vote, and there's nothing in there,
Right, I did red for all the ones we're attending
so
versus inviting.
I mean, I like to have an opportunity to say, you know, what happened?
Right. Using Excel and Google Docs makes my brain hurt.
I just thought.
Okay,
Um,
sorry, I'll clean up the rest, keep going.
No, it's just you can't do any like shortcuts.
No, well, yep.
We can take, I wrote finance committee vote on SIP twice, sorry. So that's a date that Wednesday was in the budget calendar.
Could do it
We can do it on the 12th.
Tuesday and the 12th.
Yeah.
What the hell is it? Oh,
Does that date matter? No, the other Wednesday does though. If you go down, right, there's a reason. We have to vote on it within X amount of days after.
this one right here, our public hearing.
Yes. So we skipped a bunch of stuff. So Tuesday, February 12th, we're gonna vote on the SIP. And do we want I think if we want any guests to come, like from the municipal side, that would be appropriate. Like if there's any departments that we would like to hear from, or I don't know that we do, but if so, I think that's the appropriate meeting for it, right?
I'm thinking, SIP, is that where we cover the road paving? In the SIP? That's in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we want to hear from them and
From
what's going on with
DPW?
Columbia.
Maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah, I would think, because that's gonna have a major impact on our road
Right.
paving program,
Wait a minute, you want
potentially.
to have some, hold on.
Yeah, I just think
But
it
are we
might.
meeting on the SIP earlier? Hold on. Okay, the selectmen are approving the SIP on January 14th, and we're meeting after it. We're meeting a month later
Yeah, that
to
doesn't
vote on
make
our
sense.
own, which seems a little off. We're reviewing the SIP on January 8th with Miss Andrew and Lynn.
Yeah.
Isn't that when we would talk about paving?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Andrew will have an answer for paving. Again,
He'll have an answer for everything, but that's,
because he's good.
yeah, he's,
Well,
So on
unless
top
you
of
want to
this,
have
ridiculous.
DPW come. That's it.
I think we should just let Andrew with it.
yeah.
Again, I heard Andrew say very clearly that Columbia Gas was responsible for
We
paving.
we are
so
voting on it.
Curb to curb.
We vote on it February 12th, a month after selectmen.
Oh, okay.
That's from this, right?
We have no power,
Recommended
right? So-
Finance committee vote on capital improvement plan February 13th.
That
And
was
we
Wednesday,
switched
wasn't
it to February 12th.
Seems to me we should do it right here. I would really
Why?
like to vote on the SIP right after the selectmen do, just to show that we're involved in a timely manner.
I have no problem with that.
So that Tuesday, January question mark meeting where we do the school budget, we also vote on the SIP.
May I also have it point out, just because the Board of Selectmen voted on it, doesn't necessarily mean that we have to vote the same way.
I'm not debating that, but timeliness, I think, sends a message of we're in the mix and involved. To wait
Then
a
why,
month,
I'm just curious why this is specifically in February then.
I have no idea why we,
Was that last year's?
what we did last year.
You can check.
No, I believe you.
Beyond the tax.
I have no idea why we did what we.
No, I'm saying this is specifically from the FY budget calendar, which Lynn created, not us.
Oh, Oh,
Finance
oh.
committee vote on capital improvement plan February 13th, 2019. So that's why I'm at,
So she puts it, Caleb, doesn't matter.
I'm just asking, because I know,
I mean, I'm assuming that all the information that the board of selectmen need in order to make a proper decision has been provided to them and is available to us. So. we
You're
wanna
right,
move
I
it
don't
up.
know.
We wanna move it up.
You know
I'm
what she's
okay with that.
saying.
I just wanna make sure we have enough time
Lynn
to
gave that to us.
do all that.
well, we can just ask. Just say we plan on voting on this day. Do you find is there something we're forgetting? Right?
Yep.
Not a big. Right? And then put the finance committee vote in red below, under the 12. So we know.
Okay,
we have
hold
to
on.
change it.
So you want to put this in red?
Yeah. Then we'll know whether or not we're checking.
And do we
on
want
it.
to put that in red too,
Yeah.
because it kind of all ties? Okay.
Perfect. Okay. And then
Okay.
when are we getting we need a presentation on the operating budget. So we need our February meeting shouldn't be Tuesday, February 12th, if that's when we're getting the operating budget.
Well, we are getting it on February 12th.
You can make a presentation, overall broad presentation.
I don't like that. We need time.
I want to be,
Well, my point is, if he wants to present it to him, like a high level view of the budget, if he,
but then we're not prepared to ask questions and we have to do it
You know what the
twice.
problem is? Guess when February break is.
Next week after that?
Let me double check. No, February break is, yes, the following week. So if we were to push it, which is when we really should have the meeting, which is 1 week before we vote and 1 week after we receive it, it's vacation.
No, what's the Tuesday after February 12th? That's
The
February
19th,
vacation.
and it's
That's
February
just my
spring
computer's
break,
off. I don't have a
or
calendar.
our kids' break, vacation,
Okay.
which I'm impacted, Tom's impacted. Yeah, half of
We all,
us.
I mean, everyone was, yeah. So,
Sorry, back.
wait, it doesn't, so, okay, so it'll be out February 11th because the Board of Selectmen are getting it.
right,
Yeah.
So we'll just have to make time Tuesday. Everyone's just gonna have to know that.
Well, can we push to Thursday for
Or-
that meeting that week?
Or I think that's why Lynn had it on a Wednesday. Cause we get it on a Tuesday.
Right.
'Cause this
Oh.
was a Wednesday.
so
Gives us a day to look at it.
Mhm.
it gives us a day to look over it. But candidly, I'm not gonna be in a position in a day or two even
No.
to have a real deep dive of the budget, to be able to challenge Andrew on every line item. That's why I said it's a high-level review at this stage.
But we don't have other time. So if the Board of Selectmen vote to adopt the operating budget on February
This is always
25th
my
and we want to
contention.
attend that meeting and have any comments, I feel like we need our
Right.
presentation before that.
I'm in agreement. I'm
So-
just saying that it's gotta be done. I mean, I have no problem.
Is everyone traveling during break?
I am.
Okay.
You just can't.
That doesn't, that's irrelevant.
Yeah, I think.
When are you
we'll-
not traveling? How many schools?
That's pretty much
Should we try Thursday, the
I
14th?
may-
Oh, that's
that's
Valentine's
Valentine's Day.
Day. February 13th it is?
Whatever it is.
February 13th it is. So that's why it's there. So that's why it's a Wednesday. So we'll just have to maybe make a note of that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, do you want to keep scrolling? When do we?
So you don't have any meetings in there for any specific departments.
Well, there's
But
enough time in between each meeting if you want to add one, you
Add one, you
could.
add a second
But we
meeting.
got, these are like milestones, right? I think we focus on the milestone meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, if we're gonna do presentations, we definitely need.
We'll add them into the
Some in
meetings we
betweens.
already have when we think
Yeah.
we have time,
We
or,
could
do
actually make, oh, never mind.
you want me to keep going? How far down?
So somewhere between February.
I think
Okay.
March. I think March 19th you,
Warrant articles.
but you also, you review the warrant letter in like solid draft form.
Mm-hmm.
Were you looking to maybe just, I mean, we did a pretty decent job last year of slimming down who we actually had presented. And I mentioned to you my thoughts on this year, maybe rotating some of the people that we had last year out and having people we didn't have in last year in. And we can even slim that down a little bit. Key budgets, key budget areas.
Yeah, and I think we talk about that next meeting, and then if we, you know, if I'm happy to, or Liz or whoever wants to
Thank
put
you
it
for
all
that.
together.
What'd you throw me under the bus for?
Don't be
What
so
am
good
I
at,
doing?
don't be so good at what you do. Put everything together. So I think it's Tuesday, March 19th that we have a solid draft. So of the,
The warrant letter.
no, that's different. These are different. Those are two different things. So warrant articles and forwards any questions specifically about the articles, and then finishes warrant letter.
Okay.
And then I think someone should be attending the vote on warrant article. I would put like maybe attend depending on if we have questions. Monday, March 25th.
Tentative, yeah. What's your thoughts again relative to dates for having one-on-one budget meetings with managers? I'm not talking about lining them up 10 in a row. I'm talking about maybe 2 or 3 with questions.
I think we need to decide.
That
That
would
was
be the
part
next
of.
meeting?
Well, no, that was part of tonight. Who do we want to talk to? Because then you either fit them into a meeting or make a separate meeting for them to present. It's
Right.
part of the schedule. What do you guys think? It always
I think we
adjusts.
need it.
I think meeting with anyone who's handling the roads at some point. I just think that is gonna be such a massive,
So DPW.
yep, DPW, they're the people, that's right. And maybe even police and fire. I mean, they've had to put in a whole lot of overtime in this situation. I'm just wondering how that's all working.
thinking
I
the
mean,
same.
But you don't think Andrew presenting that is, you want more than Andrew presenting? I'm only saying that in respect for the fact that they're gonna be presenting to the selectmen probably as well. They're probably in
That's
extra
true.
nighttime meetings.
Actually, I
true.
don't think, I've
But-
never seen the lineups that we've had in the past. I know we slimmed it down last
I
year.
appreciate that, but I think this is a different animal, what we're dealing with in this town. I have a feeling they're gonna be,
So
maybe you think,
but I think
They won't?
also that it's a different animal. It's a huge potential financial liability. I think we need to look at it as a finance
So,
committee.
my-
right,
you
I
know?
guess my point is why DPW and not just Andrew?
Andrew will be there, but you know what? It's good to hear, the reason why we've had managers come on board, and I really want to continue that practice, is because sometimes you hear things that Andrew's not going to say.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the logic, and always been the logic for the managers coming on board. And the DPW, Public Works is really the broader topic,
Yeah,
and then Public Safety is the broader topic.
yes.
So maybe we want that in January?
well, what about November when we have well, they're kind of have their hands full
Yeah.
right now. I was just gonna say that's
Although-
kind of a soft meeting.
Haven't even
Yeah.
submitted their operating budgets, though?
No, but they can tell us what their expectations are.
Yeah.
But I think it's early, you're right.
I mean, we also might want to talk to emergency management in that meeting. Didn't they say something, the budget policy statement has something very specific about looking at emergency management. So what's that going to cost? That falls under public safety, but it's very specific. It might be really interesting to talk with them and find out,
So there are,
what are we talking about here?
so there's 3 people you could actually have with leads of each of those things, fire,
Yeah.
police, and emergency.
Yeah.
And then the Public Works is
I mean,
really
because if
the
they
one.
come in early, then we can be, we can talk to them and also be looking at the budget as it moves through to say, okay, remember that meeting back in November? These are the kinds of things they were talking, are these getting codified into the budget this
So I have a
year?
third one, which I think hopefully everyone might agree with, community development.
What's in there?
Bobby?
The economic development.
That was the meet and greet, and get your thoughts. I'm more interested now is what is the budget looking like, and why did they not?
It's in
spend
December,
more money?
review town economic developments and efforts. So
I'm
it's
looking
more
at-
than meet and greet.
I don't have an operating budget before me, so I don't know what the thing is.
So you would want to do it what date? That's what I'm asking, so I know where you guys
I
want
would
to punch
think
in.
This has to do with the operating budgets are submitted. They haven't been blessed by us. They may have been blessed by the town, let's say the Board of Selectmen. And to ask the questions of the people, what do you think? Because
I think that when we are presented the 5-year forecast, we're going to have a forecasted revenue, and so that's going to play into economic development. How are we achieving those revenues, right? So wouldn't that be, and then, how could that change because of economic development? Is that not?
I'm still looking at more specifics, I guess, Sasha, because I never got comfortable with what we've had in the past relative to what is really the marching plan to grow the business here in North Andover to generate more revenue. I mean, are we waiting for the phone call to come in from the state saying, hey, you might have an opportunity coming your way?
I think that meeting, Jen, is too heavy.
I know, I'm
Yeah.
asking you where to put it.
Oh, yeah.
No, where to put it,
5-year
guys?
forecast.
Could you just tell me where to put it, please? Tell me if you want me to go up or down.
And it may be that the Director of Economic Development hasn't had a chance to put their
Yeah,
hands around
that's what I'm
it as well. We may get a sense of that in that first meet and greet.
But I think, yeah, maybe it's appropriate to say we'd like, you to come in during the 5-year forecast and speak to what you can, and potentially we'll ask you to come back to answer more specific questions
That's
later.
It's a fair
Yeah.
compromise.
And that way
That's a-
we,
It's a fair compromise.
if we need it, to dig in, we can.
The other thing too is as we get the operating budgets, I'm serious about if you see things and we don't have these people lined up, let's ask the question. I mean, there's a lot of things that Lynn answers. Tell me something about the debt bond, the debt and our pay down and things like that. So it's like, and Lynn attends most of these meetings, but I agree with you. Ask what we can in the first meeting, and then if we need to follow up, we can ask them to come back in the second meeting.
Okay.
And you
Jen,
know,
will you delete that?
Is everyone okay with public safety and the public works stuff?
I think it's gonna be a lot in that one meeting. To
Up
vote on
top,
SIP, review operating budget, and review emergency management. Is there another?
We should-
Well, the vote on the SIP might move up, right?
But even then, if
Oh,
we're-
okay.
the operating budget presentation is pretty lengthy.
Yeah.
What else is after February 13th? Do we have an?
Yeah, after February 25, yeah.
I wish I knew how to minimize this, I'm sorry. Not, oh, here we go. Will that help a little? Does that help?
Little.
So we don't have any meetings in March? other than
Yeah, we
March
do.
19th? Oh, sorry. But by that time, the article's done, so could we have an earlier March one?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
March.
We could squeeze a meeting in early March.
Either the beginning of March or later plus. March, you see that meeting, the 6th, 5th?
Yeah, March 5th.
That's about March 5th for that. And if we do say.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Oh, no, it's not. That's the Board of Selectmen meeting. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. No, I think that's great.
And I really do like the idea of getting both public works and the public safety together. And because they do work so well together, they have to.
Well, especially.
And then also too, it keeps the meeting down to, that's it. Hopefully it's a couple hours.
Is that what you're saying? Did I do it
And
right?
delete the Tuesday, March 19th one. Right.
Why? I don't know what that
Why?
is.
Because if we put that up there, we have way more time to work on the warrant letter
Right, but why would you delete the whole meeting?
and just put it as tentative, like if we need it, right?
Oh,
Say tentative.
That's not a lot of the meeting if you just review with emergency management, DPW, fire,
Yeah.
It
police.
isn't.
So
Right,
let's
that's
make
what
the
I'm saying,
meeting
put it up
productive.
there, and then if we,
Okay, and
if
then
we
leave that
can't,
as a holding
as
place. Yeah,
tentative, in case
tentative.
we need to extend it,
Good.
we need more time to go over
That's
warrant
perfect.
articles and stuff.
Okay.
Budget report, hand it over to us.
It's insane.
Yeah.
All right, do we want to pick dates for the early ones and then go so that we don't miss the entire World Series?
Yeah. You mean back in November?
Roll back to
Maybe.
November, Jen.
Jen?
Jen,
Yeah.
wake up.
Thanks.
All right.
So. How about the 13th?
Perfect.
I won't be in town, but. that's all
When's
miss you.
Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving is the next week, so I don't want to
Yeah, I'll just have to miss that one.
doing something fun at least.
Well, it can't be the
Going to
6th.
visit my son, Phoenix.
Need. You can't be the 6th, so it's the 13th.
Yeah, the 6th is election day.
It's kind of neat, the town has allowed us to vote early and vote often.
It's nice, isn't it?
I didn't hear the vote off in part, but yes.
All right,
December.
so then December.
So.
Yep.
We were going to skip a December meeting, but we're not, right?
No, that's because of the 5-year forecast.
And then delete the review of emergency management. Because
Yeah,
we're
that
doing,
one comes out.
doing that later.
That's later. I want to see the budget on that.
Down on, under
Although,
December FinCom.
why don't,
Yeah, I know.
why,
Okay.
5-year forecast doesn't take that long.
I thought it was a very simple,
Yeah, it's usually that bar
Isn't
graph
it
thing,
one
it's
bar-
very,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's-
very,
Maybe we
it's
should,
very 30,000 feet, if I
Yeah.
recall, so.
I would really like to get some a budget meat from these guys.
okay, so, then we'll delete the review of emergency management.
Delete
Fine.
it, delete it permanently?
Right? Yeah, because
this
we
is
have it down below.
Oh, sorry.
And the other angle too is that it can be a short meeting, guys. Nothing wrong
Yeah,
with
it's
that.
December.
We're
We're doing that on the
We have
11th?
it the 11th?
December 11th?
Sounds so familiar for some reason.
I'll be away in December.
You'll be what?
I'll be away that time.
Is there another day? Or are you away the whole month?
Yeah, I'm leaving on the 8th.
Where you going?
Going to India.
Oh,
Nice.
so you won't be back the next day? December 11th it is. And this is
That's
a nice
okay.
job. Who's the owner?
What? I am, but all changes are saved in the drive.
I'm already changing it automatically.
Yeah.
No. I just, my point is like a website. It's like this particular document. Who's the owner? And I just want to
Sasha.
make sure that.
Yep, we got it.
So, okay.
All right, is that it for meeting dates? All the other ones? are
You got him,
set.
Angela?
I wrote them down, but.
It's on the,
Yeah, can you send that to me?
You can go into the thing and just get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you go in to the template of calendar meetings and just pull it out?
yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay, can I just go over, you want this November 13th and December 11th, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, and,
January 8th,
yep,
and
January,
then there's another January. that
which
you
we,
don't
is
know
to be
that one.
determined.
TBD.
Yep,
Why?
February 12th
Oh.
or 13th.
February
13th.
13th.
Why is January TBD?
You didn't,
And
I don't know
March
the-
19th,
We,
March
we
5th.
still, wait, I'm sorry, it's not TBD. We still need a meeting. We just need to know if we can vote on SIP that day. We still need a
Oh,
meeting.
okay, so.
Because it's a school budget presentation. That would be a big one to miss.
Okay, so. we need-
So can you scroll up a little so we can see?
yeah.
Okay, we can do the 8th, the 15th.
The 8th we already
have.
have.
We have one on the
Okay.
8th.
So 15th would be the very next week, otherwise it's the
So
22nd.
January, you talking about
I think the
January?
22nd.
Tuesday, January 22nd.
And just, that's, yeah, we have Monday off for school, sort of.
Yeah.
But then
you're
school's
right.
back on.
School's
Yeah.
back on.
January 22nd works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna even put it in.
Was that's the Martin Luther King?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then we have all of our, we can, have questions before the January
You know
24th
what,
meeting.
this is the conflict I have with that.
So Angela, you're gonna put these all on our calendar pretty soon?
Yeah,
I get it.
it's probably gonna be
I get
after
it.
the election, because we have.
We'll end the
to
meeting
vote,
early.
and it's so crazy.
No, it's later, I mean, it's like, today was
defer it next
Tuesday
to.
too. I had one.
I need them all,
Otherwise, I'm gonna book everything over, so I'll just ring them, that's fine.
I may reach out to one of you guys, give me driving directions and those
See,
things.
when I do the meetings, I have to send out a letter to Michelle that works here. And sometimes I have to wait a few days before I get an answer. I just can't get the room that same day. I have to wait.
No, but you can't put them on the calendar and put the location to be announced. That's what I'm saying. You have access to put them on the calendar.
I can do that.
That would be great if you could do it all the way through, so we all have it blocked out, because we all have travel and business. You could put the location later. I get that. But, yeah, that would be awesome.
So,
Yeah.
Otherwise,
you know
I'm
what,
duping.
Angela, I'll download this too, and I'll send it to you so you have a hard copy too.
okay,
We'll do both.
thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
They didn't codify the charter, they codified.
What?
I was just thinking, I'm talking about how they didn't codify the charter, they codified the zoning or all this stuff.
Yep. Perfect. So we need to, what, approve minutes?
Little summary in order. The next meeting, as I'll speak to that, policies and procedures, I'll update the charter references, revamp it for some of the conversations we've had tonight, mays, wills, kind of thing. I'll also focus on getting, with Sasha's help, the warrant letter structure, a template, a model, not the words that's gonna be our jobs, but what's the structure should look like. I'll speak with Andrew regarding the economic director and the assistant town manager for the 11th. And I'll contact Susan on legal. And we have Liz and Sasha. I will let Lynn know that you're volunteered. Thank you, Liz. And again, if you can't make the meetings, just send me a note.
I can't make November 13th.
You can't make what?
November 13th.
And, but that goes for not just these meetings. It goes for any meetings that you've put your hand up and said, I'm gonna go to. There's nothing wrong, you can't go, gotta get it. And there's one more formal thing I want to do, is turn over what we have for addresses. We're missing Chuck's, Chris's and Thomas's information. Angela, I'm surprised that your address isn't even on there yet. Do you wanna?
Yeah, go ahead.
Also to the recognition, I guess we have a very special day today.
Well, Friday, yeah.
Was this Friday?
It was Friday.
It was Friday. Happy birthday.
Oh, God.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Sasha, good job. Thank you very much.
Are you gonna send us that chart? Or load that to the Google Drive?
It's in Google Drive.
Putting it live on Google Drive right now.
I just need directions.
Do you guys, why don't I just send it to FinCom?
Converted me over to Google Drive.
Do you want me to send it to
Share with
FinCom?
Can you just share it?
I could just email it to all you.
Yes.
And that
Everybody
includes
has a
her.
different version.
Thank you,
What do you-
everyone. Thank you.
The calendar, you mean the?
Yeah, this one
Oh.
that we just updated.
Yeah.
Isn't that what everybody just
I would
wants?
message and just do like note for the people who aren't here and aren't used to Google Drive. This is going to be continually updated. This is not a
Yeah.
final draft, but for your viewing.
It's a work in process
Yeah.
always. It's a
I
working
have
document.
learned to appreciate Google Drive through my daughter working on stuff for
I feel about
college.
that, Yeah.
Yeah, it actually is pretty good once you get used to working with it.
Microsoft has the same thing.
Yeah, they do. It's
Yeah.
365 though,
SharePoint.
most people aren't on 365.
Because it's SharePoint,
SharePoint.
there's something else they do too. I always
Yeah,
get
you
the
gotta be on-
SharePoint.
One is the bane of my existence.
It's SharePoint and there's another.
Is that okay what I just wrote?
Well, I would just,
There's two Microsoft ones.
this is tentative, will continually evolve. I don't want people to think that these dates aren't hard.
Yeah.
I would take away draft. Thank you, John, I appreciate your typist
And
skills.
maybe we definitely need to,
And Angela,
All
you're
but
on
a
this, so
couple of
you'll
us
get it,
work on
right?
our-
Yeah, I'll have a,
skills.
You're on FinCom Gov?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good, so now you get it.
very good. Is there any other topics? We have new business, none that I'm aware of.
Were you going to respond to that guy who emailed you from the Western?
I did, and I
You did.
actually, you know, I don't need to get everybody involved with it, but I have asked Sasha to review my comments, and it's more philosophical. And, for example, he talks about paying for preschool as an example of things. And I like, they took a position here that as a whole package, early education is something that we want to fund because it has reaps rewards further down and also saves money further down if we get them early enough in the pipeline. Plus, also we had a couple opportunities that I'm telling about that we got some of it paid for, but I have a problem with if you can. I'm an education pro education, especially early education, and I think that would be a wrong thing to do. It might keep people away. But on the bus fees, and I threw in their sports activities and things like that, that's just the way of the world right now.
Right.
So
I was just curious if there was, I thought there might.
I'll
be-
share that with everybody. It was just, I decided on Sunday, I'm a procrastinator, to craft something up, so.
so should we approve the minutes?
Do we have minutes?
Yep.
I lost them.
We also got an email that I forwarded you, Tim, right? From the waste disposal management department. They were discussing about this $10,000, $12,000 funds that they had generated, and they wanted to make use of that in their own way, but they said they generate it and they are not able to really use it for themselves. Yes, I had forwarded that email to you long back, about 2 months ago.
Resend it to me.
I resent.
Okay.
What organization?
Yeah. What is CCB on that? What, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, so they said that they generate about 10 to 12,000. I don't remember
Who?
from the waste management
Waste
department. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The Department of, so DPW. Someone from North Andover DPW sent you this email.
Waste management
Uh-huh.
department, yeah. So I got an email saying that they generate between, I don't remember the specific amount, but $10,000 to $12,000 something, and they wanted to use it in their own way, but the town takes away the money. So they were trying to figure out how is it that they can actually
Want to be an enterprise.
keep that.
I'm
But
wondering where they're generating the money. Picking cans out of the trash? I don't know, what does, I mean, where are they, waste management, how are they generating funds?
raising funds, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
oh,
yeah.
interesting,
We'll have to
yeah.
Look at it.
People throw out a lot of good stuff each week. Could be an eBay.
Hey, eBay,
That is true.
all right.
These are pretty quick.
Yep.
Do we have a motion on those?
I hereby move we approve the meeting minutes for the meeting date of August 14th, 2018, as written.
I second that motion.
Any good discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. We have a final thing we have to do. Any public comment? Nothing, okay?
I move we
Stan.
adjourn.
Actually, we're not too far off time here. Go.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.